So just got back from seeing Tenet, Christopher Nolan's film. You know what I'm talking about. I have been bitching and moaning about not being able to get to the theater to see this. Finally, the theaters opened near me, and I was able. I had to drive 30 minutes, not necessarily near me, but I had to drive 30 minutes. And I if you know me, you know I'd drive an hour. I would have driven 2 hours just to see this film. In fact, I was contemplating driving to Connecticut just to see this weekend, but it opened near me, and I went to see it this afternoon, and I'm going to give you my take on it, just my first thoughts, not really a review, so it's going to require some bourbon. So here we go on Film Fan. Hey, welcome to Film Fan, my channel where I discuss all things movies and my passion for movies. And if that is also your thing and you want to hear more about movies and what I'm talking about, make sure you hit that subscribe button below if you haven't done so already, and a little bell for notifications so you know when I'm putting up new content. Let's get into it. This is a casual conversation. I'm going to require some bourbon here. That's how I feel after this. Keeping it real. So let me get back in front of the mic. Pour a little of this first, and then we'll get to it. So I have been eagerly anticipating seeing Tenet. I'm a Nolan fan, so let's just put that up front. You know, some people are divided on that, and whether he's all that or he's overrated or not overrated, whether they like Inception, didn't like Inception, thought it was some convoluted mess about dreams and multiple realities, whether Memento was a great film or not. Not even getting into that. I'm a Nolan fan, I'll tell you right up front. So, of course, like every other Nolan fan, every other film fan, really, I was really looking forward to seeing Tenet. The trailers, obviously, was just like mind-blowing. And I believe, we got glimpses of the trailer and such before the pandemic, before the lockdown. So, it was like this pause. It was like meeting a really good woman and you have just started dating and you're looking forward to it. And, like, all of a sudden, something happens and separates you and you don't get to really hook up, right? So today for me, being able to go to the theaters was like finally getting that date or finally getting that night together where it's like, all right, finally this is going to happen. I've been waiting for this. So Tenet, I can't do a review. I can't do a full review because let me give you my very first thought. I called one of my boys who I talk film with often, Ken Onio, shout out to you. Also, by the way, I haven't said yet on Film Fan that this desk, it was a custom desktop that I had. I got a Jarvis Fully, I believe is the company's standing desk, one of those desks that automatically rises and goes up and down. And I had the top built custom to my specifications by Ken Onio, and that's my boy. And he actually built this for me. So quick shout out to him while I'm talking about him for a second. So back to Tenet. I can't do a review, like a full, just discussing it, all right? It's more my first impressions, my first thoughts, which is why when I got in, my wife was saying, and the kids said, oh, you're going to tape that? Are you going to tape? And she said, are you going to do the review? I said, I need to sit down, have a drink, and talk about it. I'm not even going to do a full review. So with that said, my first impressions are, and like when I was talking to Ken, go back to what I said before, I was talking to Ken on the drive back home after I left the theater, and I described it as, imagine watching Memento, right? But imagine Memento being poorly edited and cut out of the right sequence, right? Then imagine combining it with Inception. So put the Inception characters, put the Inception plot, multiple dream layers, add that to Inception and Guy Pearce's character there, right? Put Guy Pearce in Inception, add all the layers and all the craziness of that. Take a David Lynch film, let's say Mulholland Drive, combine these three. So stick with me. We're going to combine these three films, add a bit of calculus, some physics, trigonometry, add all that in for good measure. Pretend you're taking a class at MIT. Also pretend that you don't speak the language of the professor teaching you at MIT, and all this is going on at the same time. If you can imagine that, then that's kind of where you'll be with understanding Tenet. That's my take on that right away. My first thoughts, because man, I'm telling you, it's just, now this is the important part. This is, if I have to review it or any kind of review, this is how it's going to sound. It's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. There's a difference between a bad film, like, poorly written, poorly edited, cinematography is garbage, or the director doesn't know how to helm the actual script and it just kind of came off bad and the acting was bad and it let you down, that's a bad movie. Nolan didn't make a bad movie here. It's not a bad movie. I enjoyed the experience. I didn't go to the theater and feel like, oh, that was a waste of my money and my 2.5 hours of my life are gone. It's a good film, right? So I have to say that it might even surpass good. It might be a great film. Nolan is genius regardless. This is a genius filmmaker. This is not somebody who is lacking the technical proficiency, the visual proficiency, the understanding of cinema and photography and all these things. He's not lacking anything. Storytelling, he's not lacking these things. It's just so complex that it requires you to really dig deep. And when I say complex, I don't mean it's so intricate as to be intellectually baffling to the point that it's pretentious or that it doesn't really work. And it again, he's genius at creating that type of world, and he's genius at putting these things together. It just requires a real serious amount of deep thought, and you've got to be a serious film lover to appreciate the storytelling and the narrative and what's happening. Tenet deals with time, as Nolan films typically do. All of his films deal with time. Even you look at Dunkirk, except for Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, like that trilogy was more based on, the superhero, the character. But in Nolan's original material, you're dealing starting with Memento, you're dealing with time and you're dealing with memory. You look at Inception, even Dunkirk, which was a linear story about getting these, soldiers off a beach and getting them somewhere. He told it in 3 different pieces dealing with time, with different parts of time. So that's just his thing. Tenet, same thing, but it's mind-numbing. You watch it, and I went into it with this idea of okay, I know I'm going to have to watch this. I'm going to pay attention. Not that I pay attention to every movie I watch. But going into this, I knew I had to pay attention. I knew I had to just really be extra mindful that this is going to require just watch out for things, right? John David Washington is fantastic. I like this brother on screen. He's got a lot of his father's gifts. There's no question about that. He's got that same gravitas, and a lot of times his vocal he enunciates like his father. You can hear his father in him. Really, really good, great up and coming actor. He's fantastic. Robert Pattinson is fantastic. I actually looked at Robert Pattinson and was like, hey, maybe this Batman thing coming up might work. Who knows? Robert Pattinson wasn't bad at all. I like Robert Pattinson now. And I could give 2 shits about Robert Pattinson previously, so just to keep that real. But the visuals of the film, the cinematography, the movement, the editing, everything is just fantastic. It is brilliant to look at on that level. It's just that as a story, you're watching it and you're thinking, okay, so something about this can reverse this matter, some kind of thing, reversal material. I'm there. I'm with you for a minute because they explain it. The other thing Nolan does, which some people don't like, is he'll explain things, but I feel like things need to be explained, but he only explains enough within the scene for the characters supposedly to get it. How they get it so quick, I don't know, but I'm watching it and I'm thinking, well, okay, he just told me what that's about, but I still have no idea what he just said. Top of which, let's get to that. Listening to this film, the dialogue, and I've checked other reviews, like everyone's saying the same thing, so it's not just me apparently. The dialogue is low, or it's not as clear. Now, I don't know if that's a technique or something he's using to make things as ambiguous as possible, because if you do that and make the dialogue somewhat interpretable on a different level, like I don't quite know what he said, but I think I know what he said, it adds to the confusion element of it psychologically. So if you're watching it, you're getting this sense of being disoriented or not quite knowing what happened or what, and it's based on not understanding what they said. So be interesting to find out if that's a deliberate thing that he's doing, and not sure that it really plays well, but we'll see. Going into more sound, the sound effects editing, the sound score was fantastic. Again, on my channel here, I talked about Ludwig Göransson's score, and it's just growing on me by the minute. Now that I saw the movie, it's that much better. This guy is just fantastic, and the next Hans Zimmer, next John Williams, Danny Elfman, Alan Silvestri, he's got all that stuff, and he's only 36 years old. So score was fantastic, the visuals were fantastic, the performances by everyone's fantastic. It's just a mind-numbing kind of back and forth. Where am I? I was just with you, and now I'm not with you, and now I feel like a dumbass, and maybe I shouldn't be a film guy because I don't get this. So, yeah, I got some of it. A lot of it went over my head. I've got to watch it a few more times. This is definitely something where it comes out on 4K. I'll be snatching it up immediately. I'll pre-order this bad boy, and I'm going to sit, and I'm probably going to tell my wife and kids I need like a weekend of nothing but this film. Not just daddy needs one night to watch a movie. It's going to be, I'm going to need a weekend. Go to your mom's for the weekend. I'm going to be in the theater here watching watching Tenet again. So that's it. I mean, I don't know if I gave you any information there. I don't know how you feel about what I'm saying, or if you've seen this movie, what your thoughts are. But let me know in the comments below if you've seen Tenet already and how you took it on your first try. Let's just see. Let's go there. If you haven't seen it, I hope you're looking forward to see it. I hope my discussion about it has either inspired you to go ahead and get to it, and you're compelled now because you want to know what I'm talking about. And I certainly hope I didn't put you off to it. Again, it's a great film. I'm going to say, for the record, it's going to end up being a great film. It's worth owning at home, and it's worth seeing multiple times. You don't watch this film and feel like I saw a bad movie. You just feel like, shit, I've either got to get wiser and hipper to the game in watching this, but that's all it is. It's a good film. So on that note, those are my first thoughts. I don't even know if I'll do another full review. I might have to see this movie 2 or 3 more times, preferably in the theater, before I can give you an honest full review as far as like a breakdown of things. And part of that is not to give you any spoilers. Like, I don't want to talk about it too much. I think it's something you should just see. But on that note, if I had to give a review, I'm rambling now, right? Yeah. If I had to give a review, I would say it's a definite film you should see, and you should see in a theater. So if you can safely get to a theater, you can safely go to a theater and respect the social distancing rules, that's the other thing I should talk about. I actually enjoyed the hell out of the fact that there was no one behind me, there was no one next to me, and there was no one in front of me. This is how I go to the movies usually anyway. I'm usually someone who sneaks out to the movies in the middle of the afternoon, or I'll go to a matinee, 12 o'clock, whatever, first showing, and I will sit in the theater by myself or with like a limited amount of other film fans in there, and that's how I like watching movies. I don't always like being in a full crowd. There are times when I like that feeling because it's that whole feeling of everyone being in there together. But this, with the social distancing and wearing the mask, I was worried for a second. I was like, wait a minute, how am I going to eat popcorn with the mask? But apparently the rule is if you're eating popcorn, obviously you don't need the mask, and then you have to put it back on. So that worked out. But there was like limited people in it. I went to a 2 p.m. showing, so that was great to see it like that. So let me get into one more thing before I end this. I got to see previews. Going back to the theater, the concept of being back in a theater after not being in a theater since March was absolutely, I felt like a kid all over again. I was reminded of why I'm a film fanatic and why I love being in a movie theater. It felt like magic. The previews, I got to see the teaser trailer. They have a teaser for the trailer for the new Dune. And as soon as it came on screen, I almost melted. I mean, it's just, I saw that. I saw the trailer for, Wonder Woman 1984. Good Lord, Gal Gadot. I could watch that woman do whatever. She's in that rank for me. She's up there. Got a quick glimpse of Zendaya in Dune, and she was absolutely just fire, pure fire. What else did I see a trailer for? Oh, saw a trailer for a new. What's the guy's name? What's the guy from 300? Gerard Butler. He's got a new film. It's like a doomsday scenario, like an Armageddon kind of thing, where like meteors are hitting the earth and you've only got a certain amount of time to live before a catastrophic civilization ending. What do they call that? Civilization ending event, seismic event that's going to wipe out a planet killer thing. And I was watching this trailer like, good Lord, no, we don't need that movie, especially now. Like, the last thing we need is a movie where a doomsday scenario about meteors hitting the earth is going to wipe out civilization. We just don't need that. Just watching that trailer had me on edge, but it looked good, looked decent. So Wonder Woman 1984, Dune trailer, fantastic. Oh, God. That's my next thing, and I cannot wait for that to come out. I'm so looking forward to that. Let me know if you're looking forward to that, or what other movies you're looking forward to. I can almost guarantee you everyone's looking forward to 1984, Wonder Woman 1984, and Dune. That's it for me on Film Fan. I'm gonna stop. I need to finish this because again, I gotta process Tenet still. All right. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. Hit the little notification bell so you don't miss my content when I put it up. And I will see you on the next Film Fan. Mind blown. Blown.